The email subject line read, Project Launch Acknowledgement, Bell Initiative. I blinked twice, then once more for good measure. It was my proposal, my pilot program. My name, nowhere in sight. I scrolled down, stomach tightening with each bullet point. Student Wellness Integration was the working title I'd developed over the past 3 months during stolen evenings and early mornings before school drop-offs. I had even stayed late last Thursday to revise the metrics sheet. And yet, here it was, presented as the Bell Initiative under Marissa Bell's name, my co-worker, my team partner. A small line at the bottom stabbed me hardest. Congratulations to Ms. Bell for leading this meaningful effort in student well-being and mental health. I didn't cry. Not yet. I just closed the email and looked around the empty office, the custodian vacuuming the hallway, and the faint scent of lemon cleaner lingering. The silence after betrayal is oddly sterile, too clean to hold rage. I reached for my phone, a familiar habit, ready to vent to my son Noah, though I'd never actually do it. He was 12. His world was still built of marine biology books and Lego cities. I couldn't put this on him, not when he had asked just this morning if we could visit the coast again soon. Instead, I texted Rachel, my friend from the admin team. Did you see the Bell email? Tell me I'm not crazy. The typing dots appeared, then vanished. My phone rang. But it wasn't Rachel. It was a number I didn't recognize. Hello? I said, heart still half in the injustice of the email. Ms. Dawson? A calm female voice asked. Are you Noah Dawson's mother? Yes. I straightened in my chair, suddenly cold. Is something wrong? There's been an accident. Your son was biking near Forest Park when a vehicle veered off the trail. He's sustained significant injuries. He's being transported to Portland General Hospital now. I didn't ask how bad. I didn't breathe. I was already out the door before the call ended, keys in hand, phone forgotten in the passenger seat as I tore through red lights and skidded into the ER drop-off zone. I ran into the lobby, nearly knocking over a coffee cart. Noah Dawson, I gasped to the triage nurse. My son, bike accident, they called me. She guided me to a private room, where a woman in blue scrubs waited with the weight of bad news already pressing into the space. He's in surgery, the surgical liaison said. Severe head trauma, a fractured femur, internal bleeding. The neurosurgeon is doing everything possible. Is he going to die? I whispered, the question foreign in my own mouth. He's young, she said gently, and strong, but the next 24 hours are critical. The room spun. I don't remember calling my dad, but I know he said, I'm on my way, and I believe I cried but didn't feel the tears. The waiting room was full of other lives suspended mid-disaster. I sat, paced, stood again. Every beep, every footsteps in the hallway triggered hope and panic. I watched the door like it owed me something. 6 hours later, the surgeon returned. We were able to stop the bleeding, but there's still swelling. We've placed him in a medically induced coma. Coma. That word scraped every inch of my soul. They let me see him, and nothing prepared me for that moment. My boy, my beautiful ocean-eyed, seal-loving son, lay unconscious, bruised, tubes everywhere, machines breathing for him. I sat down, shaking, took his hand, and prayed like I hadn't since James died. Talk to him, the ICU nurse Rachel encouraged softly. He might hear you. I did. I told him about the camp we were going to, the aquarium in Monterey Bay. I told him I was here, and I wasn't leaving. My father, Robert, arrived just before nightfall. He wrapped me in a hug that smelled like Old Spice and sawdust. You're not alone, Kira, he whispered, voice thick. Where's Mom? I asked. I already knew the answer. Charity event, he said. She's praying for Noah. I nodded, but I felt it. The absence was deliberate. That night, I curled up in a plastic hospital recliner beside my son's bed, still in my work slacks and blouse, mascara streaked and forgotten. Nurses floated in and out. Rachel kept me grounded, explaining everything in calm tones. ICP levels, sedation windows, pressure control. Noah didn't move, but I stayed. The next morning, I checked my phone for any update. Still nothing from my mother. Claire had texted a smiling group photo from a brunch. I ignored it. Instead, I walked out to grab a protein bar from the vending machine down the hall. That's when my phone rang again. Mom, a flicker of surprise. Hope, even, I answered. Kira, she said briskly, I need you in Seattle tomorrow by 2 p.m. I blinked. What? For Claire's birthday party. I asked your father to remind you. There's still the portrait shoot scheduled. Mom, I swallowed. Noah is in a coma. He might die. I'm aware, she said coldly. But there's nothing you can do there that a nurse can't handle. You're being overdramatic. I'm his mother. And Claire is your sister. She's worked hard on this. You've already been absent for so much. If you don't show up, I'll have to rethink Noah's college fund support. It wasn't a threat. It was a transaction. A reminder that love in her world came with price tags. Don't make me choose, I said quietly. You're the one choosing, she replied. Family loyalty is a two-way street. My voice was steady when I replied. I choose Noah. I hung up. Then I deleted her number, and for the first time in 35 years, I felt something like freedom. If you've ever been overlooked after giving everything you had, type 1 in the comments. This space is for you. Back in Noah's room, I sat silently. Then my phone buzzed again, this time from HR at the school district. Subject: Concerns regarding absences and project attribution. I opened it and saw Marissa Bell's name. Again. But this time, attached to a formal complaint. The letterhead was clean, professional, legal. Dawson Family Education Trust, amendment notification. I blinked. The envelope had been slid under Noah's hospital room door sometime during the night. No return address, no prior call. Inside, a single sheet, effective immediately, and due to non-participation in critical family matters, Noah Dawson is suspended from active status in the Dawson Education Trust. The trustees reserve the right to revisit this decision pending future cooperation. I gripped the page. The corners cut into my fingers. They did it. They actually did it. It wasn't an empty threat. My mother had gone through with it. Cut Noah off while he lay in a medically induced coma. Because I didn't show up to a party. I sat beside his bed, numb. The ventilator hummed, a mechanical breath echoing in a room full of real consequences. Rachel, the ICU nurse, stepped in just as I lowered the letter to my lap. You okay? She asked gently. No, I said, too tired to lie, but I'll be fine. She glanced at the envelope. More bad news? Family politics, I muttered, the kind that costs tuition. Rachel gave a slow nod. Blood doesn't always mean backbone. That morning, Dr. Nuon reviewed Noah's scans. Some brain swelling had subsided, a tiny spark of hope. They lowered his sedation slightly. I held his hand, whispering, "One squeeze, buddy. Just one." Nothing, but I stayed. At noon, my phone buzzed again. HR email, follow-up request. I opened it hesitantly. We've received internal feedback regarding project ownership inconsistencies and prolonged absence. Please be prepared to meet upon your return. Attached was a report, submitted by Marissa Bell. She listed lack of collaboration, undue credit disputes, and reliability concerns stemming from unreported leave. I felt my stomach drop. She wasn't just stealing credit. She was rewriting the narrative. I called Rachel again, desperate for clarity beyond the beep of Noah's monitors. She filed a complaint, I said, pacing near the window. About me, while my son's in a coma. She sounds threatened, Rachel said plainly. You did the work. Now she's racing to rewrite the history while you're offline. It clicked. Marissa didn't just want the credit. She wanted me out of the picture entirely. That evening, Liam's parents dropped off some of Noah's sketchbooks. Just in case, they said, voices trembling. I tucked one beside his pillow. Ocean creatures mid-drawn in bright ink. Noah's world, drenched in curiosity, untouched by bitterness. I couldn't let them win. Not Marissa, not my mother, not while he was fighting to wake up. Later that night, my father showed up quietly, 2 coffees in hand. "I heard about the trust," he said without preamble. "She really went through with it," I said. "Noah's not even conscious." "She's hurt," Dad offered weakly. "She thinks you're turning the family against her." "She gave me a transaction," I snapped. "Come to a birthday party, or lose your child's future." He sighed. "I didn't sign off on it, but I didn't stop it either." "I know." We sat in silence for a while. "You don't have to take sides," I said eventually. "But if you don't stand up for him, someone else will." The next day, Noah's fingers twitched. It was subtle, barely there, but I saw it, felt it. "Rachel!" I called, trembling. She ran in, checking the monitors. "Increased brain activity," she confirmed. "It's a good sign." I leaned in. "Noah, it's Mom. If you hear me, we're right here. You're not alone." His eyelids flickered. A blink. Just one. But enough to crack my heart wide open. That same hour, another text came in. "Claire, since you've ignored Mom's calls, just letting you know the birthday was a disaster. Your absence really hurt her. Can you at least Venmo me something for the group gift?" My hands shook. They still didn't get it. My son had just blinked for the first time in 4 days, and all they could think about was cake and optics. I finally responded. "Claire, he almost died. He's still not out of danger. You don't get to spin this into some social inconvenience. Leave me out of it." She replied with one line. "Wow, so dramatic. We all have lives too, Kira." I didn't answer. I couldn't. But I remembered something Noah asked me 2 years ago, after a visit to my mother's estate. "Mom, are we poor? Grandma says we'd have a better life if you'd married someone smarter." That day I told him, "We have everything we need, buddy. We have love. That's wealth too." But now, reading Claire's text, looking at Noah's pale face, I wanted more than love. I wanted justice. Back at work, I checked the shared drive. My original proposal, time-stamped, was gone, deleted. But I had backups. On a personal cloud folder, time-stamped emails between me and the school board liaison. Marissa didn't know I'd copied every iteration. They wanted a clean theft. They forgot I wasn't new to being erased. I met Rachel in the hallway just before her shift ended. "I'm thinking of filing a formal rebuttal at work," I said. "Not out of ego, just to protect what's mine." Rachel smiled. "You're fighting on 2 fronts, but don't forget, you've already survived the harder one." I nodded. "One step at a time." She touched my shoulder gently. "And if you ever need a witness for what kind of person you are, I've seen you, up close." If you've ever stood quietly while someone else claimed your efforts, type 2 in the comments. You're not alone anymore. That night, I received a message request from an unfamiliar number. "Hi, Ms. Dawson. I'm a reporter from the Portland Daily. We heard there's some confusion over who really developed the Bell Initiative. Would you be open to clarifying?" My breath caught. Marissa had gone public, and the world was now watching. The notification popped up just as I was adjusting Noah's pillow. Subject: Clarification request, the Bell Initiative. From Marissa Bell. To all district leadership plus media inquiry team. I read it twice, then once more, just to believe it. To clarify any confusion regarding the origin of the Student Wellness Integration Project, while Ms. Dawson contributed to early-stage admin discussions, she was not involved in final development. I led the research, data collection, and execution. As Ms. Dawson has been on extended, undocumented leave, I stepped in to ensure the program did not stall. Any claims otherwise are a misunderstanding, and I hope we can move forward without further disruption. It wasn't just a denial, it was a polite erasure, and beneath it, a chilling subtext. If you push back, we will bury you professionally. I closed the tablet slowly, my heart pounding louder than the machines monitoring my son. Rachel, the ICU nurse, noticed my expression. "You look like someone just spat in your coffee," she said, her tone soft but edged with concern. I handed her the tablet. She read silently, then exhaled. "She's not just stealing credit. She's closing the door on you." "I was warned," I murmured. HR flagged me last week. And she's using your absence to cement her story, Rachel said. I nodded. It's strategic. It's what my mother would call a well-timed clean cut. Back in high school, Claire once crashed my presentation board the night before finals. And when I protested, my mother said, "It's just poster paper. She's under more pressure than you." That was always the script. Claire was urgent. I was optional. Somehow, Marissa had studied from the same playbook. I looked at Noah, still weak, but awake now. His fingers curled slightly when I laid mine beside them. I forced a smile, but inside, I was burning. That afternoon, Linda showed up, unannounced, dressed in cream slacks, a silk scarf, and a face that didn't understand gravity. Claire followed close behind, scrolling through her phone, barely looking up. "We've been calling," Linda said. "I've been busy keeping my son alive," I replied, tone like ice on glass. Claire looked around the room. "Wow, it's quieter than I imagined." I stepped in front of them, arms crossed. "You can sit for 5 minutes, one at a time. If you're here to support Noah, not yourselves." Linda blinked. "Excuse me?" "You heard me." Claire rolled her eyes. "This whole martyr thing is getting old." "Your party," I said, "was never more important than his coma, and your apology sounds a lot like a PR cover." Linda's lips pressed into a tight line. "We didn't come to fight." "No, you came to reclaim a storyline," I snapped. She tilted her head. "Kira, you've always been dramatic, emotional, unstable when things don't go your way." That did it. I stepped forward, voice low and calm. "Call it what you want, but from now on, Noah is not your pawn, your bargaining chip, or your narrative arc. You will not rewrite his recovery the way Marissa rewrote my project." Claire scoffed. "Marissa earned it. You weren't even at the board meeting." "Because I was in the ICU," I said. Linda looked at me for a long moment, and then she smiled. Tight, controlled. The kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes. "Well," she said, "if you want to go to war, remember who has the microphone and who has the megaphone." It wasn't an apology. It was a warning. They left after 5 minutes, just as agreed. I made sure of it. Back in the room, I helped Noah sip water, his voice barely a rasp. "Who were they?" he asked. "People who don't understand how lucky they are," I replied. He blinked slowly. "I don't like them." I smiled. "That makes 2 of us." Later that night, I opened my email and started drafting a response to the district. Subject line: Timeline of proposal development, Dawson contributions. I attached everything: PDFs, memos, audio notes, time-stamped emails going back 4 months. I didn't accuse, I just laid out facts. Let the data speak. I sent it before I could second-guess myself. The next day, Rachel stopped by before her shift ended. "Hey," she said, "I heard something weird at the nurse's station." "What?" "A guy came by asking questions, said he was from a local podcast. He wanted to know about you, said your name was coming up in district drama." I frowned. "Did he leave a card?" "Nope, just vanished when security got involved." I exhaled slowly. They're trying to get ahead of the story. Or maybe they're testing how far I'll go. Rachel gave me a long look. "Will you?" I stared at Noah, then back at her. I have to, because they're not just rewriting what I did. They're rewriting who I am. That evening, as I stepped out to get coffee, a message popped onto my screen. From anonymous subject. Caution. Sometimes silence keeps the door open. Noise closes it forever. Be careful what you fight for. I froze. No name, no signature, just a warning. I forwarded it to myself, then deleted it from the hospital device. Marissa, or someone close to her, had just escalated the game. If you've ever been told to be quiet and grateful while someone else stole your effort, type 3. You're not the only one. That night, I opened my work drive from my backup tablet. Someone had just tried to delete the oldest version of my project file. But they didn't know I had audit logs activated, and the username that showed up? M. Bell District. This wasn't just career sabotage, it was data tampering. And I had proof. The subject line hit like a slap. We regret to inform you your employment is under review. That was how it began. No call, no courtesy, just an automated notice at 7:03 a.m. while I was still in my hoodie, brushing Noah's hair back from his forehead. I reread the email twice. Due to multiple unreported absences and pending investigations into project documentation disputes, your current role will be subject to a formal review. Until resolved, your administrative access has been revoked. They'd locked me out of everything: email, shared drives, payroll portal. Rachel walked in right as I gripped the side of the chair, trying to breathe. Bad? She asked, her voice low. They suspended me, I said, my throat tight, because Marissa fabricated a paper trail, and I was too busy keeping my son alive to stop her. Rachel pulled up a chair beside me. You still have your original documents? Yes, and the metadata logs proving she accessed and altered the folder after hours. Then you don't fight this quietly, she said. You fight it smart. That afternoon, I forwarded my logs to the district's compliance officer with one sentence. Please see audit trail evidence regarding Dawson original authorship and post-access anomalies. No dramatics, just timestamps and facts, but facts have a pulse when they're used right, and this time I wanted them to bleed truth. Noah sat up more that evening, asking for applesauce and sketching sea turtles with trembling fingers. I want to finish the one I started, he mumbled. Which one? I asked, brushing his bangs aside. The blue one, from the sketchbook Liam brought. His voice still cracked, but it was his again. And so was that flicker in his eyes, his father's calm fire. Outside, the rain hit the windows in soft percussion. Inside, I finally felt my spine return. The next day, the district sent me a follow-up. We are pausing the attribution review pending your attached documents. We have also requested a retraction statement from Ms. Bell until the investigation is complete. Not justice yet, but the tide had turned, and she knew it, because 2 hours later, I received a text from Marissa. Hey, didn't realize how much this meant to you. We should talk privately before things spiral. You good for a call tonight? I didn't respond. You don't negotiate with people who tried to bury you alive. That Friday, my father called. Your mother's updating the will, he said quietly. She's removing you. Permanently. I laughed, not because it was funny, because I'd already been grieving that relationship for years. Let her, I replied. I'm not fighting for a seat at a table that always served someone else's meal. She's still your mother. No, I said. She's a woman who uses titles as weapons. There was a long pause. She's also selling the house, he added. The house, the museum of perfection where I was never enough, the kitchen where Claire's school trophies were displayed and my photo of a local mural was thrown out, the living room where Linda once said, "We don't hang amateur work." I stared out the hospital window, at a parking lot full of strangers who felt more like family. Good, I said. Let someone else live in it. Maybe the walls will finally stop whispering. On Noah's 13th birthday, we didn't have a party with chandeliers or photographers. We had cupcakes from the hospital cafeteria, a balloon Liam's family brought, a handmade card from Rachel, and a video call from James's parents, who cried seeing Noah wave at the camera. Later, we sat on the hospital balcony with hot cocoa in foam cups. The sky was soft with late spring clouds. Noah leaned his head on my shoulder and asked, "Do you think we'll ever see Grandma again?" I exhaled. Maybe, I said, but only if she learns how to show up without hurting. He nodded, quiet. You stayed, he whispered, even when it was hard. That's the job, I said. Not just as a mom, as a person who knows what love really means. The next morning, I got a call from an unknown number. I let it ring twice before answering. Hi, is this Kira Dawson? Yes, speaking. This is Lila Martinez from The Chronicle. We've been following the district initiative story. A few things didn't add up. Would you be open to sharing your side of the development process? I paused. This was it. The moment I could either stay small and safe, or let the truth walk out with a spotlight. Yes, I said finally. But I'm not just going to give you files, I'm going to give you a story about what it costs women to do things quietly. Understood, Lila replied, Let's meet Monday. I hung up and smiled. Let them hear me now. Later, I saw Claire's post online, a throwback photo of us as kids, captioned, "Sisters, no matter what." I didn't comment, didn't text, didn't engage, because forgiveness doesn't require an invitation to repeat the pattern. That evening, I received a certified letter. Not from my family, from the STEM nonprofit where Marissa had claimed the district partnership credit. Dear Ms. Dawson, we've reviewed recent documentation regarding your early involvement in the student initiative. We'd love to interview you for our National Educator Spotlight series. Your quiet leadership deserves visibility. For once, someone used the word leadership and meant me. I looked at Noah sleeping in his hospital bed, then at the invitation again. This wasn't just about vindication. This was the beginning of a different ending. If you've ever walked away from a house that was built with control, not care, type 4. This story was written with you in mind. As I packed Noah's things for discharge, I noticed a voicemail. From Linda. One line, her voice cold and composed. Careful, Kira. Stories make heroes, but they also create targets. I hit delete and whispered to myself, let them aim. I'm not hiding anymore.